Your baby still doesn't know how to speak. But that doesn't mean they aren't trying to communicate something to you all the time, because there are small behaviors, looks, reactions, and seemingly simple habits that can reveal how their brain experiences safety, connection, and attachment. And in today's video, I'm going to show you 7 signs that most parents see every single day, but almost never understand the real emotional meaning behind them. Some seem small, others go completely unnoticed. But once you understand what they actually mean, the way you see your baby changes completely. So stay with me until the end, because the last sign is one of the deepest of all, and most people misunderstand it completely. Sign number 7. They search for you visually. You move across the room, and a few seconds later, their eyes follow you, even while being held by someone else, even while distracted, even without making a sound. And the most fascinating part is that many parents never realize what this actually means, because in that moment, your baby's brain may be checking for safety. Attachment research shows that babies use certain people as a kind of emotional home base while exploring the world around them. So when they suddenly stop what they're doing just to visually locate you, they may not be just looking, and their brain may actually be asking a silent question. Are you still here? And the moment they find you again, something inside them settles. Because for a baby, sometimes love doesn't look like affection. Sometimes it looks like confirmed presence. Sign number 6. Their body changes when you arrive. Sometimes other people try to help. They hold the baby, talk softly, try to calm them down. But the moment you show up, something shifts almost instantly. The crying softens. Breathing slows down. The body gradually relaxes, and this goes much deeper than simple preference. Because a baby's brain learns safety through emotional repetition. Your smell, your voice, your touch, your rhythm, the way you hold them, all of it becomes a pattern the nervous system recognizes before conscious thought even exists. And maybe that's exactly why sometimes no one can fully calm the baby until you appear. Because in that moment, their brain isn't just recognizing a person, it's recognizing the place where it can finally stop being on alert. Sign number 5. Their whole face changes when you appear. And this may be one of the most emotional signs of all, because many times, the smile appears before any interaction even happens. You walk into the room, you get close, you say something, and suddenly, their entire expression changes. Their eyes light up, their body loosens, their face seems to open. And the most fascinating part is this. Small babies don't smile out of politeness, not out of social obligation, not to be nice. So when this happens, the reaction is incredibly genuine. Research on emotional bonding shows that the presence of attachment figures activates systems related to safety, emotional reward, and regulation in the infant brain. In other words, that smile may be much more than happiness. It may be the brain recognizing, the person who makes me feel safe just arrived. And once you start seeing it this way, that simple smile carries a completely different weight. Because maybe, in that moment, your baby still doesn't know how to say, "I love you," but their brain has already found a way to show it. Sign number 4. They always find a way to stay in contact with you. Your hand, your face, your hair, your clothes. Sometimes it's a quick touch. Other times, they seem to need contact almost constantly. And to an adult, that may look like simple curiosity. But to a baby's brain, touch means far more than affection. Touch means presence, regulation, confirmation of safety. An infant nervous system learns about the world through the body long before language exists. And that's why so many babies fall asleep holding onto a parent's shirt, touching a foot, a hand, or resting against someone's face. Because in those moments, physical contact helps the brain stay organized and calm. And maybe the deepest part is this. Many times, your baby isn't touching you only because they want closeness. They're touching you because their body literally feels different when you're there. Safer, more regulated, less alert. And once you understand that, those little touches stop feeling like random habits and start revealing a brain-building connection in the most primitive and profound way possible. Sign number 3. They try to communicate with you before they even know words. Little sounds, random noises, expressions, small pauses waiting for your response. And the most interesting part is this. Many times they do it more with you than with other people, as if there's an invisible difference in the way their brain reacts to your presence. Because before language even exists, your baby is already learning something incredibly important. Who responds when I try to connect? Research on early social development shows that babies begin creating emotional exchanges with attachment figures very early in life. So, when they make a sound and wait for your reaction, when they look at you after babbling, or seem to hold a kind of conversation, that is not random. It's the brain practicing human connection in real time. And maybe the most emotional part is this. Even without words, your baby is already trying to build a bond, as if they're saying, I still don't know how to explain what I feel, but my brain already knows it wants to connect with you. Sign number 2. Their body changes when they feel your presence at bedtime, and this one deeply affects a lot of parents, because sometimes the baby was restless, fussy, fighting sleep, but the moment they sense you nearby, something inside them slows down. Their breathing changes, their body relaxes, the tension leaves their face, and this goes far beyond emotional comfort. Research on co-regulation and infant sleep shows that babies use a caregiver's presence as a biological reference point for safety. In other words, for many babies, sleeping near you is not just a preference, it's the brain-lowering vigilance. Because during sleep, the nervous system becomes more vulnerable, and when the baby senses your smell, warmth, voice, presence, the brain interprets, I don't have to monitor everything by myself right now. And maybe that's why some babies seem to sleep deeply in someone's arms, but wake up the exact moment they're placed down alone. Because many times, it's not the sleep that disappears. It's the feeling of safety. Sign number 1. You became the emotional safety point for their brain. And maybe this is the deepest sign of all. Because love, for a baby, doesn't look the way it looks for adults. It looks like safety. That's why they look for you when they get scared. Come back to you when the environment changes. Relax when they feel your arms around them, and keep monitoring your presence even while exploring the world. Research in attachment theory shows that babies use attachment figures as a kind of secure base to organize emotions and safely explore their environment. In other words, when your baby comes back to you, it's not exaggerated emotional dependence. It's the brain confirming, my safe place is still here. And maybe the most emotional part of all is this. Your baby still doesn't fully understand the world. Everything is still new, unpredictable, intense. But there is one thing their brain is already beginning to understand very clearly. With you, I can finally relax. And maybe that is one of the purest forms of love that exists. And once you start seeing these signs, everything changes. Because behaviors that once seemed small or ordinary suddenly begin revealing deep emotional connection. If this kind of content speaks to you, subscribe to the channel. Because here, you don't just learn about child behavior. You learn what's actually happening inside your baby's brain. And that completely changes the way you see every moment. Now tell me in the comments, which of these signs does your baby do the most with you?